This program is rated PG. It contains themes and scenes which may not be suitable for very young audiences. Parental guidance is advised.
Be advised that the views and opinions of the hosts and guests do not reflect those of the station.
Good evening. This is your Global Village program, and your host, Buddy Cunanan, as Honorary Consul of Georgia, is on a special mission. So I will be your guest host for tonight as we are observing this September the United Nations Peace Month. And in order to discuss this desire to end violence against mankind and Mother Earth, we have two very special guests that we will be talking to so that we'll learn more about the concerns of the UN, how to achieve peace, especially now that the UN has minted the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. And we will be discussing this with the UN Information Officer of the United Nations Information Center and the Executive Director of the National Commission for Culture and the Arts. So we will let first Ms. Tess DeBouquet to say hello to all of you, and we will be rolling out a very special media propaganda, and it's not just propaganda, it's sharing about the 17 Sustainable Development Goals by entertainment stars and very outstanding personalities. Tess, say hello to the GNN fans.
Good evening, Cecile. Thank you for having me on this show. And I look forward to our discussion on issues related to peace during the upcoming UN Peace Month celebration.
Yes. So before we start our kwentuhan, we're going to show you what are the 17 Sustainable Development Goals? How does it relate to us? How can it help achieve peace and even sustainable development, as the topic is about? Watch it.
We can be.
We must be
the first generation
to end extreme poverty.
The generation
most determined
to fight injustice
and inequalities.
The generation that saves the planet from climate change.
And this is how it will get done.
The global goals.
a 15-year plan
For everyone. Everywhere.
With no one left behind.
We will live in a world
where nobody
anywhere lives in extreme poverty.
Where no one
goes hungry.
Where no one
wakes in the morning
asking if there will be food today.
We will live in a world where no child has to die
of diseases we know how to cure.
And where proper health care
is a lifelong right for us all.
we will live in a world
Where everyone
goes to school. And education gives us the knowledge
and skills
For a fulfilling life.
We will live in a world where all girls and all women have equal opportunities
to thrive
And be powerful
and safe.
We cannot succeed if half the world is held back.
We will live in a world
Where all people can get clean water.
and proper toilets
At home,
at school,
and at work.
We will live in a world where there is
sustainable energy for everyone.
heat, light,
And power for the whole planet.
without destroying the planet.
We will live in a world where economies prosper.
A new wealth.
Lead to decent jobs
For everyone.
And we will live in a world
where our industry,
our infrastructure and our
Best innovations.
Are not just used to make money, but to make all our lives better.
We will live in a world
Where prejudices and extremes of inequality
Are defeated.
inside our countries,
and between different countries.
where people live in cities and communities
that are safe, progressive,
and support everyone who lives there.
where we replace
What we consume.
Planet where we put back
What we take out of the earth.
We live in a world that is decisively rolling back from climate
change. Where we restore
And protect the life in our oceans and seas.
will restore
And protect life on land.
The forests.
animals, the earth itself.
with peace between and inside countries.
where all governments are open.
An answer to us for what they do at home and abroad.
And the justice rules.
With everyone equal before the law.
Where all countries and we their people.
Work together.
Partnerships of all kinds.
To make these goals a reality.
These are the United Nations global goals.
For sustainable development.
Let's get to work.
Tess, the UN has gathered all of these outstanding personalities to share the concerns about achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. I'm sure some of them are recognizable. Maybe you can mention some of them. And this is all for free, is service, because talaga pong tinatangkilik nila ang 17 Sustainable Development Goals.
Yes, Cecile, some of these Hollywood personalities are goodwill ambassadors of specific agencies. So you saw Meryl Streep, you saw Jennifer Lawrence, Jennifer Lopez, and other non-celebrity personalities, but prominent in their own right, like Stephen Hawking, you saw, and Bill Gates, of course. So, and you also saw that there were many man-on-the-street videos. So we want to emphasize that the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals are inclusive, and they are supported not just by our goodwill ambassadors, but all people from all
over
walks
the
of
world,
life,
because
all over the world.
All countries have committed to achieve the 17 Sustainable Development Goals.
Actually, 193 member states did. Yes.
So, this Sustainable Development Goals is being promoted strongly by the new Secretary General, who is Mr. Guterres, who used to be the president of
the chief of the refugee agency.
Yeah, but also he was Portugal's leader. So it's very important to tie up all of these 17 Sustainable Development Goals. Why will it be able to achieve peace if we all commit to achieving these goals?
Yes, you're right there, Cecile. There is a saying that there can be no development without peace, and also there can be no peace without development.
Well, the first thing nakita ho ninyo, end poverty. I mean, if there is really equity of opportunity and also judicious use of resources, then there's no angst where people feel that they are deprived or they are oppressed. This is a cause of a lot of tension and war. If everybody could be giving, isn't it? The concept of sharing. Sa Pilipino, kapatiran, pagmamalasakit. Then, wala ho sigurong gera. There will be no armed conflict.
Yes, and underlying the Sustainable Development Goals is the promise that development should not leave anyone behind.
Yeah. So, sama-sama, we're all together in this. And there are some of these Sustainable Development Goals, especially relating to protection of the environment. Because you have there clean water and sanitation. You also have life under,
life on land, life below water.
So these are all important, and partnerships in development, I think that's the key. And education for all. Because the key, isn't it, to really unlock the gridlock of underdevelopment is education.
Exactly.
And the UN, especially through UNESCO as lead agency, has really pushed forward this education for all. Diba? Ito yung sinasabi ho nila lahat Wala hong iniiwanan, as they said, nobody is left behind. And there is a good action now from our government because they have passed the free tuition for
No
college
tuition fee, yes.
students through the SUCs. And we hope that this will help really increase the opportunities for education and livelihood. It's interconnected, yeah. And sustainable cities. So this observance of September as International Peace Month with a special International Peace Day,
Yes.
which is on
September
21.
21st. Yes. I'd like to say that the theme of the International Day of Peace for this year is Together for Peace, Respect, Safety, and Dignity for All.
Yeah. This is so relevant for us, especially now that we are still facing the onslaught of the Maute invasion, in fact, or occupation of Marawi. And it is so sad that such a beautiful city, in a sense already a sustainable city because it's an educational center, is now really suffering with armed conflict. So many refugees, even the cause of child warriors is profiled now. It's very important that we really focus on peace. And now, especially with all the issues, where are all the, say, armed conflict? It's everywhere, isn't it? Yeah. We have the very sad state in the Middle East. We have it in Africa. We also have it in Latin America. And lately, there has been a peace agreement in Colombia with the FARC rebels. And of course, there are problems as well in Europe. And here in Mindanao, we are faced with armed conflict, and our plea and our prayer, especially there's a forthcoming, or there has been a prayer, a national day of prayer for peace and also for caring for creation. That is our advocacy for the future of our children.
Yes.
You've seen the sites, right?
Yes, I'd like to share with the audience a recent report by UNESCO that says that half of the city of Mosul in Iraq and a third of the city of Aleppo in Syria are now in rubble.
Well, that's also the agony now of our kababayans in Mindanao, especially in Marawi.
Yeah, the Grand Mosque in Marawi, which used to be a national tourist attraction because it's the only one of its kind in the country's only Islamic city, also now lies in ruins.
Yeah. I mean, this is a very important issue, and what we're planning for promoting the SDGs, because for teachers, for government officials, especially local government officials and the bureaucracy, it's so important that we really understand what are these 17 Sustainable Development Goals. How does it affect our lives? What are we supposed to do? And well, you are with UNIC, so you're doing a lot of partnership with different organizations, like what we've done with NCCA.
Yes, actually, one of UNIC Manila's major partners in promoting the Sustainable Development Goals is the government's own information agency, the Philippine Information Agency. And through their extensive network of newspapers and radio stations around the world, in all the regions of the country, we are able to disseminate information on the progress of the Sustainable Development Goals in the country and also globally.
Well, you know that because there's so many concerns now integrated with regard to disaster resilience, climate change, environmental protection. We have been able to draw the partnership of the Climate Change Commission, besides, of course, UNIC and NCCA, with the Earth Savers, UNESCO Artists for Peace, and the International Theatre Institute, to develop and air radio soap opera on the Sustainable Development Goals, so that it is translated in conditions, situations, real life characters, in effect, that would be able to provide a vivid picture of how we can improve living conditions and have really a better, more secure, peaceful world if we undertake the Sustainable Development Goals.
Actually, Cecile, I'm happy to announce that through UNIC Manila's initiative, we have been able to translate the Sustainable Development Goals to Filipino.
Yeah.
Because nothing resonates with our people than
our own language.
Our own language, of course.
Yeah, and that we will credit Jolad Santos for translating it.
The Commission para sa Wikang Filipino.
And at the same time, we did it in the Convention for Disabled, for persons with disabilities.
Yes.
For the protection, because one of the Sustainable Development Goals is really inclusivity, equality. So this shows the concern of reaching out for persons with disabilities, which was done with Human Resources. So it's in Braille, so that persons with disabilities can be informed about their rights and also their responsibilities, but especially for government agencies and other institutions to be aware and respect, because if you want peace, as you said, you must respect the rights of everyone.
Yes. Cecile, the Sustainable Development Goals, one of the goals is Goal 10, which aims to reduce inequality. So under the MDG regime, women were given, well, of course, there are marginalized.
Gender equality.
Yes, it was emphasized in the Millennium Development Goals, but not so much on persons with disabilities, the elderly,
the indigenous
people. So SDG 10, Reduce Inequalities, will try to address the marginalization of those groups, which was not sufficiently taken care of under the Millennium Development
Goals.
Goals.
The MDGs were only 8, and now they have expanded it to 17 in order to cover and link more. If you have climate change, you're going to have hunger because you have super drought or super typhoon and all of your crops are destroyed. And health and disease is connected. So you can see that the 17 Sustainable Development Goals provides a framework for everybody to work together. And in order to have that sense of sharing and compassion and caring, which I think is a good formula to achieve peace and to build tolerance and break down prejudices. Please stay with us. We're going to continue with our discussion in the observance of September as World Peace Month.